Obidients bash Ben Bruce over tweet on Obi's comment at NBA conference. Supporters of Peter Obi on Tuesday descended on the former lawmaker Ben Murray Bruce over his tweet on a comment made by the presidential candidate of the 62nd Colloquium of the Nigerian Bar Association held in Lagos on Monday. The former Anambra State governor, who spoke at the event as a guest speaker, had harped on the urgency of focused leadership as a solution to Nigeria's crisis. According to him, the country was drifting very hard and must be reworked in the interest of Nigerians. However, Bruce, who tweeted via his Twitter handle over the statement, claimed Peter Obi endorsed his PDP counterpart Atiku Abubakar by using the word articulated. This interpretation had generated backlash from Obi supporters nicknamed Obidients, many of whom felt the lawmaker went overboard. So, endorse how? A reply said, he showed respect by greeting him as an elder brother or uncle, but Peter Obi was the best speaker at the conference. He will be the next president of Nigeria by God's grace. Okay. Another comment says, are you okay, sir? You know what? As much as this individual has obviously reacted, Dino Melaya did as well. And, he says, oh, come and look at what, Peter Obi obediently said. He obediently is articulated. Really, just playing devil's advocate. Maybe Peter Obi was also trying to cause a trigger, but at the end of the day, giving it plain and simple, articulated is the word that he used, and that does not mean he's trying to endorse PDP. Why would he do that? Maybe it's a classy way of throwing shade. You never know. But on the basis of the fact that he was given a speech, he literally used the word articulated. Or is that owned by people now? So if you want to draw out interpretations given the political context, that is on you. But what did he do? He just mentioned a word articulated that obviously, again, maybe he was throwing shade, but why can't he? Look at what PDP, presidential candidate, APC, and their spokespersons, look at what they do, look at what they tweet, look at the bashing. You want to compare. Literally, it's like this man, or it's like Peter Obi cannot do anything that will be liked. Well, at the end of the day, these are individuals that are obviously threatened by his movement, and anything he does will be judged, harshly, extremely. And so I guess it's something that they may not be able to understand. But the fact is just, they just love to attack at this point. You guys don't get the drift. If you want to get attention now, you must use the name Obi. And it is just very simple. It is very simple. Again, if you look at, let's say May, June, July, May, June. I think that Peter Obi's, it was very intense then. The movement was intense. We had mass registration of voters' cards. We had people that were very salty and were calling Obidients bullies online, those we didn't expect it from. So it was a very strong movement. And really, the conversation, there was literally nothing else. If any other person, any other thing literally would come up, would be around the subject of Peter Obi. You know how you have the sun and you have the planets going around? Doesn't take away from the fact the sun is there, doesn't mean the planets do not exist, but really, it's not the main thing, right? And I think that was a very big issue, and I think that really affected the APC. It affected them so bad, in my opinion, that I think they tried for so long just to be in the news, and they did it perfectly by creating a scenario or just creating drama that had to do with Tinubu, and it all just started. I don't think they could not handle being the center of attention, so Tinubu decides that, let me lose my certificate and let's just not find that certificate. And that was a big issue. I was asking very important questions in my mind. I was like, wait, is this how can we go from Peter Obi, the country, ideologies, the interviews he's giving? Don't get me wrong, Peter Obi was going through a lot of attacks then, but he was the conversation. Politics became Obi, that was it. And the next thing, we're talking about Tinubu's certificate. I almost lost my mind. I'm like, wow. That was when I started looking and seeing, damn, the desperation is real. The desperation is pungent in its smell. And so obviously, that led to a train from Tinubu's certificate to who he was going to choose as uh as a running mate, and then fake bishops, and then so if you see the line of how APC really pushed themselves to be center of the conversation. Of course, Peter Obi, yes, the movement is there, but you see how the conversation and the media, of course, is highly responsible for that, because you push a certain narrative, and that is all everybody can talk about. And literally, it was getting tiring. I mean, I was thinking, wait a minute. I mean, we're literally having conversation as to what criteria Nigerians would want in their president, and how, oh my days, Peter Obi seems to be taking the boxes. Talking about that, and then we're talking about another candidate who happens to have lost his certificate, and then we start arguing based on a new electoral act that has been amended 2022. We're comparing that, and then we start talking about APC, talking about how bad this country is, and it then went on to Wike, and I mean it became a lot, right? But really, the whole essence of it is now, right, is that it's like they're fighting for who would be the number one position. And right now, Peter Obi has said something. And as this individual has said, which is where I've literally gone on a tangent, he says, if you want to get attention now, all you have to do is mention the name Obi. Because really, that is what everybody would jump on, whoever you support, just to make your point known. And it literally is, he is the man of the hour. And I don't think... Even Femi Fani-Kayode has also come out to give a whole speech, a whole essay, which he calls, an intellectual exercise, but doesn't indicate that he's a supporter of Peter Obi. But anyways, it's just like, you can't go against the tide. You cannot go against the movement. You cannot go against the youth. You cannot go against the future. And really, in simple terms, that is just what it is. And so whether they try to draw meaning from what he says, Peter Obi could literally breathe air and they say, wow, look at this. How can he be breathing? But really, at any attempt to, jump on that train, be relevant, they would have to mention his name. It's just what happens. An interesting comment it says is that, keep attacking, you will soon know that Obi is working for Atiku. Oh, wow. Well, that is a very controversial statement to end off. So let's see what you think of that. Do you think Peter Obi is working for Atiku? Put what you think, and don't forget to like and subscribe.